The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 1st December 2020, Death. Me. I remember it as if it was yesterday. My whole family accompanied me, but on the way there was a lot of silence. I was 21 years old, or rather I had circled the sun 21 times. When the priestesses arrived, they covered me with orange cloths, the color of mourning, the color of regeneration. In that building facing Lake Habadaptra, today called El Karum, they stripped me of all my things and clothes, leaving me naked, immersed me in the pools connected to the lake, and gave me a bath. They put ointments on my skin, oils with strong and rich aromas, and arranged my hair with fine braids. Thus, from within the water, I was received by the high priest, his face painted black, his eyes popped clear like a spectre at sunset. At sunset, his words still resonate with me. Behub Hishan. The time to die has come. I am. What did you feel? Me. Honor. His left hand stretched out to the west, as if taking the last rays of the sun that began to touch the waters and reflect beautiful colors on the soft waves. His other hand was placed on my forehead. Their chants and mantras spoke of liberation, of letting go of something to be reborn, something new. Nyavoch Chovnya. He invoked the name of the divine, the one who lets go of the old to allow the new to enter. Ebuhub sores evakub soreu. Let your soul die. Make it awaken a new one. Naburesh erbak yan tobura esbak suku tepenk in hai. Under the shadows you have walked, so that you could walk on the light, and both live in your every step. The priestesses gave me the second drink, a kind of narcotic, which would allow me to better travel through the underworld. I had completed my initiatory path after years of travel along the Nile. After going through hundreds of tests, I had to travel the last and most difficult of all, to die. Facing death was the last of the great steps of the shadows and darkness of the soul, in which we had to learn to let go of everything. In the Kemul culture of the Atlantean Nile, one had to learn to die many times in life to understand that it was nothing more than a journey. The word death was said, Behub, which could be translated as, the path you make from one house to the other, taking into account that when said as well in front as behind, a palindrome, this journey is constant and cyclical, an eternal journey. We used to welcome children at birth by saying to them with love and gentleness, Waershu haiti atum behub het. Welcome to life, path to death. From the womb of the mother to the womb of the earth. Every step we took later would be a practice to die. Every 7 years we had to review our lives and know if we were ready to die or not. The way to know this was by practicing death, reviewing emotions, ties, dependencies, beliefs, attachments. After completing the initiatory path, the test at age 21 was to swim with the gods. Habadaptra was the mirror to the afterlife. In its waters the stars were reflected, and when you sailed through them, you seemed to be sailing with the gods in the heavens. But beneath its waters was hidden the underworld, ruled by Shrabeb, Sobek, the crocodile. The legend said that the crocodile would only attack you from the depths of the underworld, which today we call subconscious, if you were not able to be at peace with your soul, if something in you pushed you with fear towards the coast. While I found myself with half my body in the waters, around me in silence were all those I loved, my family, my husband, my closest ones. I had to look one by one in silence, without the possibility of saying anything, not a single gesture, only identifying what united me to them. Where were the ties, and whether they pulled me to life or accompanied me to death. At the end of the looks, the night had come, and the stars covered everything. Anubis could be heard in the desert in the voices of jackals who called my soul, claiming it for the inner world of shadows. I climbed the steps that separated the square pool from the lake and boarded the long boat, where 2 priestesses and the high priest accompanied me. 4 rowers began pushing towards the center of the lake, towards a clean horizon covered at night. I couldn't look back. I shouldn't. Looking back would only bring me problems. It would show that I was not ready to face the new. When he reached the center of the lake, the most intense part began, jumping into the water. Naked, without any clothes, nothing, she had to swim with the gods, floating in the sky, knowing that beneath me was the crocodile kingdom, that before the slightest doubt they could smell my fear. I am. Real crocodiles? Me. Yes, of course, a crocodile-infested lake. It is the most direct way to face the subconscious, which awakens instantly. The shadows, the night, the fear, the attachment, everything that clings to the security of life. The worst thoughts cross your head. The heart races, as does breathing, and everything is altered. And you need to remain calm, in meditation, looking at the stars, even if you feel the chill caused by your mind, thinking about what may be underwater. I am. A perfect allegory of the subconscious and the conscious come true. Me. But I succeeded. I came from the other side. And there was the crocodile temple. There, every 7 years, we had to be present to renew our vows with existence. Inside, 7 small chambers received us, with just enough space so that our bodies could lie down as if it were our wake. The companions would dry me again, put on my ointments, perfumes, and discover the chamber corresponding to my age. There I received the funeral songs. There I was on the other side of the realm of the living. I was in the underworld, daydreaming because of what I had drunk. E hae emgor lan li shu. Do you wish to come back to life? I was asked at one point. I hesitated for a moment, but I remember that my answer was, Ahaiti. I am in life. Ama hai ha, for I am eternal life. To which the priest replied, Ae. We returned in the boat, and this time again without clothes upon me, but a thin, translucent veil bound by a beautiful, colorful necklace of wings on my chest, fluttering subtly from my shoulders to my feet. I came again to the coast of the living, standing on the bow of the boat looking at the horizon, where my loved ones welcomed me, having waited for hours on the other side until dawn. The first rays of light could be seen decorating the sky and dyeing the mountains and the lake reddish. Golden colors enveloped our bodies minute by minute. And then the priest reminded me of the last part of the test. Eu haiti enam, yor namis aus haiv wan. Name yourself in your new life, for your name will be their celebratory song. And with all my strength, from the deep heart, I finally changed my name, giving me a new vibration that would awaken me from the darkness to resonate with my renewed soul. Shushi uha saihu. The smile that transforms the world from the beginning. Shu. And from then on, Shu was my name. I am. Death and resurrection. Me. That time in 2016, when we came to Egypt to make the first Chem 999 trip, days before I told Ahmed, our guide, that I needed to return to the place where I had practiced dying so many times. After hours wandering dirt roads in the desert, in a geography very different from the one I remember, I found it. There in the middle of nowhere, away from the lake for miles, since by the droughts of the last millennia the great Habadoptera was reduced by 70%. surely was what today they call Temple of Pearls. Upon entering it was like facing many deaths. It was like dying again. I realized that I remembered many deaths in many lives, and that all of them had now left me with the clarity that we take to the other side everything to which we cling. And it is precisely the same thing that pushes us to remain living in the past. Emotions, loves, are like an anchor. Dying hurts for it, but it is a liberation for the self. I am. Death is the universal gift, most despised by the living. Death is a physical concept that helps energy break free and adapt to new forms and realities. The cosmos is a set of vibrations moving like waves. Every convex movement is a moment of integration, of going inside, of letting go, of dying. Every concave movement is a moment of expression, of going outward, of manifesting and living. What a human sees as life and death, the universe sees as a simple wave. Thus, a wave is eternal life, from incarnation to incarnation, living different realities according to different frequencies, and each wave will condition with its force the next. In the universe, everything is a continuum. There is no separation. Life and death are nothing but an illusion from the distorted and limited eye. Every day you are born when you wake up, and you die when you sleep. When you make conscious the dream of each night, with the death of each life, you will realize that each day of your life is a practice for the next. There you will understand that what you do not solve today, you must solve it in the next, and that depending on how you sleep, with what information or emotions you are going to sleep, your dreams will be related to it, determining your dreams or nightmares, what you will call heaven or hell. Death is letting go of the control of limitation to enter the freedom of expansion in the mind and imagination, where there are no limits. Me. Death is one of the most difficult issues to face as a living being, because all our biology was designed to survive and stay in life as long as possible. That is, accepting death is almost going against all the patterns built by our body and subconscious for millennia, for millions of years. That's why death is related to all the bases of the human and animal subconscious. In the construction of being, the struggle for survival made fear, anguish, terror, battle, anger, tools of life to defend against death. The organic construction, then, is based on the denial of death. The physical body is a being built mainly by patterns that seek to reject death, and it is logical, because the design manifested itself with the will to give all the existing possibilities to a being to experience what he can. For this reason, the bodies were increasingly limited, to allow greater capacity to release these patterns. Letting go is so difficult that the same system forces us to let go through the concept of physical death. But on the other hand, we have the death of the emotional soul, related to traumas and the dark night of the soul. Souls also die, although they take lives to do so. Me. How does this happen? I am. The soul is energy, and energy is transformed. When you have limited and rigid energy, like a body, the energy is forced to transform faster, but when it is more relaxed and subtle, it can take millennia to transform. Me. This explains why we can live so many lives repeating the same stories and feeling the same emotions. I am. Exactly. The soul clings to emotions and stories as the body clings to the life it is experiencing. Death, then, is the concept of the convex wave that strips us of these attachments and forces us to transform ourselves in order to continue advancing. Me. Although it hurts, death is a liberation. That was what all our education was about 12,000 years ago, to understand that we should smile at death, and that when we died, we would drag what we are today with us. So we had to work so much on our being to be able to arrive coherent when starting from this plane to the next. I am. The body doesn't want to let go, and therefore needs a lot of education. You have to identify what are the most addictive pleasures and desires that you can possess, what emotions you are addicted to in your lives. That is why this month of Scorpio, we have tried to immerse ourselves in that subconscious of crocodiles, to face our desires, attachments, beliefs, shadows, pains, everything that we drag hidden inside us and that only makes us slaves at the time of our death. Like that slave in Plato's allegory of the cave, he will return again and again to see the same shadows for fear of facing light and truth. Me. In my family, death was always very present. My grandmother's sister, my Aunt Olga, told me all the time about the moment she would die. My grandfather constantly joked that he died of a heart attack, until one day it was real. My grandmother always told me how she wanted to be cremated and deposited, and with my mother we always visited the graves of our ancestors. I still ache at the fact of the physical loss. How is a duel performed? I am. As much as a person's body has entered the convex path of the universal vibration wave, that person's essence actually expands into all living bodies, awakening their life in the cells of those connected to their genetics. Being never dies. It has only transformed the way it expresses itself. Thus, mourning is done by experiencing what makes that person happy, fulfilling some of their wills, because now they will live through you. Me. That is why souls in sorrow often say that they have unresolved matters, and ask the living to perform them in their name. Energetically, it would be that they continue to live in this world, but without the ability to manifest, so they need bodies to close their cycles. I am. Think of it this way. Your grandmother. Why did she die? Me. She died of ovarian cancer that mainly affected the uterus, and when she had chemotherapy, it affected her intestines. My grandmother was in pain for my grandfather, who decided to let himself die and left us homeless. Our house of a lifetime. We always believed it was ours, but no. It was one of the 5 brothers, counting my grandfather. They lent it to him, but he never said that. When he died at 52 years of diabetes, we learned that the house was not ours, and my grandmother's phrase until her last moments was, "Not a brick left me." The pain of my grandfather's abandonment, and the fact that he left us with nothing, made her uterus, which represents home, sick. Unable to process the anger and frustration, she let herself fall. My grandmother was the most energetic person I knew. She was going to do chemo on a bicycle by herself, and it decayed very quickly. My bond with her, was one of the strongest, and I was by her side as much as I could. I knew she would die, so I built a portal under her hospital bed and decorated it with lots of colors and laughter. I played music, talked to her about forgiveness, about letting go, and that when she left, I would still be there, and we could feel each other. I told her that at the moment she left, she should let go of the pain and anguish for what Grandpa and the men did to her. It cost her a lot. The day she passed away, I was gone, and I keep reproaching myself. I was not there because I went on a trip, the way of the dragon, a path that in the end lost all meaning. I could have stayed. Only 2 more weeks would have been enough to have been able to accompany her to cross from the other side. I am. You did it. You prepared it well. But if you were there, she wouldn't have done it. She would have clung to you. You did what she sought to do. Travel, move, go out, gain momentum, energy, activate the kundalini, as she always did in her life of fires. Me. I haven't seen it like this before. It's true. I am. In your actions, she ascended, for it is in your activity that she found rest. As I have told you, those who transcend find fulfillment in those who still live, for they are still alive and expanded in bonds. She was moving, and to help her you needed to move. You climbed with her spirit and soul the spine of the great woman for Chile and Argentina, and that was the beginning of the duel. Me. Until I came back and I was able to fulfill what I had wanted, to put her ashes in her hometown, planted in a tree to resurface alive to the world, a tree planted by her daughters and grandchildren. I am. And in every action she lives. So the tensions of the family were released, so you managed to have the house and find stability. Your grandmother is living it all through you. Me. Thank you. Feel. Tears at last in my eyes, in my face. Nothing could make me cry this month of Scorpio, but at last it has arrived. Release from the shadows of guilt. I have lived many deaths in my lives, my own and others, and even so, death continues to be the cause of the greatest anguish. I am. For we are all one, and when a part of us descends, a part of all descends, and if you are not aware of it, you will be dragged into the abyss. When your task is to live, and to encourage the dead to remember that life is eternal. Me. Eternity. Everything is eternal. It never ends. Death is not the end. It is the transformation of matter, the liberation of all shadow. It is to leave the cavern and see the light at the end of the tunnel. I am. And when you manage to see the sunlight with attention, you will see that your brain and vision find in its center a black dot, which absorbs all the light, taking you to the maximum divine consciousness, where everything coexists in harmony in the world of ideas. Me, the void. I am, the eternal void, where all the shadows of matter, where all the distortion of light find their meaning, their logic, where all the pressure on you only awakens the diamond that you are, where all low emotion is the fuel of your being, where every negative idea is a new perspective to solve a crisis. In the void, the dark takes clarity. In the void, you rest from wandering the paths of existence, hanging in polarity. In the void, you find peace. Me. That is why the great test is to face death. I am. Death is the ultimate practice of the void. It is a reminder that warns us that we can be free of our own creation, and that we can live the dream we desire. Me. Living one's own or others' experience of death is the ability to awaken the awareness that we are eternal and subtle, that we live in a dream, and that when we die, we only awaken in the expansion of existence. I am. Tomorrow begins that journey through existence, to remember the magic of what you have created for yourself. But first you must release everything that weighs on you in the subconscious. Then, this month has been your Habadoptera. You have crossed the crocodile lake. You have laid down on your deathbed. You have seen your fears and your shadows, to begin to see the sunrise again. But first you must ask yourself, are you ready to die? Me. Yes, I am. Now I am. I am. Immerse yourself in the mud. Don't struggle to breathe a past air full of toxic shadows for your soul. Bury yourself under the tree of life and let your seed germinate. Me. I am the eternal void, and in the dream of death, I can resurface and create life. I am. Rest in peace.